Welcome, everybody, to episode 2 of the 76 Devs Show and Tell. Today we got Anthony from Gibwork. He's working on a cool developer bounty program, and today he's going to give us a little demo. How are you doing, Anthony?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. So what are we show and telling today?
Well, first off, thanks for having me. Appreciate the opportunity, and thanks to anyone who might be watching and joining us this Saturday afternoon. In terms of what I want to show and tell, I hope to showcase one of the features that we're working on, and hopefully I can walk away with either some feedback or criticism or some ways on how we can improve. And second, we're going to be creating a bounty live. So hopefully anybody who's watching can have the opportunity to go ahead and tackle that bounty and claim 75 USEC. And then lastly, just hope and pray that everything goes smoothly. Nothing breaks while I'm doing this demo.
Hey, well, no pressure. Yeah, excited to see what you got. So yeah, feel free to share your screen whenever. I'll rearrange stuff here as we need.
Sweet. So I'll just share this screen here. Let me know once you see it.
Yep. Here we can make it a little bigger. Nice.
Let me know once you see it.
Oh, okay. I do see it. I think that was my fault with this software. Cool. So we can add that to the stage. We can sit next to it. Awesome. I think I'll make, this even bigger. And we can take off this annoying banner. Okay, let's go. We're ready.
Awesome. Yeah. So like this new feature that we've been working on like the last couple of weeks is intended to like help contributors get paid in some sort of way. Like what we thought is like, as an open source contributor, you're often doing thankless work and doing it for free. But as an open source maintainer, there are not that many opportunities to give back to those contributors. So one way we're tackling this problem is by offering the open source maintainer to tip contributors. So what I'll intend on doing is like kind of walking through open source contributor creating a bug or a bug issue or reporting a bug, and then the open source maintainer, how they would end up tipping this contributor. So like, if you're familiar with GitHub, this is kind of nothing new, but I'm just going to start from zero and then hopefully end up tipping the contributors. So like ideally what ends up happening is like, as an open source contributor, I am either consuming or contributing to this open source repo. One of the ways that you can contribute to this repo is by creating a bug report or, log a bug issue. So in this case, we're just gonna, pretend that we're logging a bug. And I'm logging a bug under a separate profile account. But in this use case, we'll just walk through logging a bug, which is, a lot of what happens in open source repos. Like you have people who are consuming your software. And then if they find a bug that you might have not tested for or caught in your testing, this is one of the forms of them helping you grow your project. I'm not sure why it's like not submitting. Let's see. All right, 1 second. Let's try that again. All right, so we're just going to log this bug. And then I'm going to submit new issue.
Hey, I've seen this work before, so I believe you.
Yeah, but like it's not even it's like GitHub not letting me create a bug or what's going on here. Let's rename the issue. Bug test. This is really strange. Yeah, I'm gonna have to call GitHub customer support here. But
it's strange for sure.
Yeah, like I don't even know how to explain that one. But fortunately, I've already created like several of these test cases. So just give me a second here. Let me see what I can do. All right, so I'm just gonna jump into like a separate GitHub repo, And then let's try this again. Right, so I'm an open source contributor and I'm just logging a bug. All right, now I want to work. Right, so I logged the bug. And this, like, you know, helps us grow our open source projects because we have other people looking through our code and consuming our code and then, you know, reporting issues. So as an open source contributor, I might want to thank, or as an open source maintainer, I might want to thank this contributor, and I can do so using our new feature, which is essentially a bot account on GitHub. So the way that you can do that is like, you know, now I've switched over to my, you know, open source maintainer account, and I can go back to this bug report, and I can thank the open source contributor by simply tagging our bot account, mentioning the word tip.
Oh, hold on. We lost your screen share, I think.
Okay.
I think it's only that tab.
All right, let me let me know if you can see it now.
Yeah, all good.
Awesome. So like essentially what you do is like, you know, as the open source maintainer, I can now tag the GitHub account Gibwork bot, mention the word tip. In this case, we're just going to tip $1, and then just mention the person that you're tipping. And essentially what happens is once this bot receives this notification, and of course it takes a couple seconds before the bot replies, but what ends up happening is this bot receives a notification, and in a couple seconds it replies back to this GitHub issue with a link that would allow us to, well, there it is, that would allow us to essentially tip this contributor. So, right, so as the open source, and we've included a bit of instructions down here. So like, you know, this stuff is, as long as you're tagging the bot and mentioning the word tip in an amount, you can almost guarantee that you're not going to have any issues. But what you would essentially do is just click this link. So I'm just going to open it in a new tab. And then I'm just going to hope and pray that one of these wallets does have some sort of funds, so we don't have to walk through doing that. But I'm just going to go ahead and connect my wallet. I'm going to select Phantom. And then I'm going to pay the $1 that I promised to this open source maintainer. And I'm going to try to remember the hundreds of passwords that I have. Nope. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're going to tip $1, and then we're going to confirm it. Right. So essentially, as the open source maintainer, I've done the work. So in terms of that, I mean, is like I've now essentially tipped this contributor. So now as the contributor, I'll go back to my contributor account, Web3 Anthony. I also see the message on here. So I would click on this link, open it in a new tab, and then I'm already logged in as actually, I'm not logged in, so let me just close that. I'm logged in as my other account. But what you can do is like you essentially click on the link, and then we'll prompt you to authenticate with your GitHub account. That way we know exactly that you're the one receiving the tip. So in this case, I'll just go ahead and verify and claim. I'll get prompted to select the account that I'm logging in as, and I'm going to select the person who's getting tipped. And then once you've done that,
is there a pop-up right now that you're clicking on?
No, so like you should have seen a different screen where GitHub was asking me like which account I want to log in with.
Oh, okay. I don't think that made it through to the stream. We just see the Gibwork tip site.
Yeah, actually, like looking at the StreamYard, you're actually a couple of screens behind of where I'm at. But that's because I have to switch over to the other screen. I should have all done this in all like one browser, but I'm using Google Chrome and Brave. So every time I switch browsers, it's like,
yeah, no worries. That's pretty cool, though. I don't think I've interacted with a bot like that. That's a cool interaction. All right, we got you. Go ahead.
Awesome. So like, that's cool. We got the time. So let me just reset this here. I kind of want to show that way we all we can at least walk away with knowing how to use this bot, right? So like what I was showing on the screen is like, okay, as the open source contributor, I now see the same message. So I would just click on this link. And then once I click on this link, I have to verify that I am indeed this GitHub account. So what I do is I just click verify and claim. GitHub then prompts me, you know, which account I want to log in with, and I want to log in with the person who's getting tipped. And as soon as that happens, is I get redirected back to the tipping webpage, and I can now connect my wallet. In this case, we'll pick a different one. We'll pick Soflare. And then again, try to remember a password. Okay, that one works. So by doing that, I've connected my wallet, and what happens is as soon as you connect your wallet, in the background, we send you the tip. So you'll receive that tip as fast as Solana transactions are, and that's pretty quick. As you can see, I walked in here with about $3, and I walk away with $4. So, you know, as an open source contributor, I'm pretty happy now that I've earned this $1.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's still kind of like we're still in the process of trying to flesh out issues and bugs. And ideally, we can kind of like make this a lot less seamless. But for now, this is kind of what we've came up with.
Cool. Okay, so the flow is you tag the bot, that posts the link, and then so like if I wanted to tip you right now, would I have to click that link first to verify it, and then someone else does again to claim, or did we just look at verify twice?
So like I'm glad this happened. So like somebody tried to tip the bot or try to tip me. But what happens is like in order for you to tip somebody, you have to be a maintainer on the project. So like you can't just randomly tip people on GitHub issues. And we wanted to avoid, you know, we wanted to avoid that to like prevent people from abusing it. But there might be a use case where you might want to open it up to just anybody being able to tip somebody.
Yeah, that's a cool paradigm. Okay, so this isn't so much like the customer paying the developers. This is developers almost paying the customer or other developers people.
Yeah, and like
that's cool.
GitHub issues is like one way of like, you know, tipping. We also support like pull request. So like, you know, this in this example, we walked through just somebody reporting a bug, and you wanted to say thank you in the form of a tip. You know, somebody might be contributing to your project in the form of pull request, and it's the same process here. So like, you know, in this case, another account of mine, I have plenty of accounts. Gibwork bot tip $1 to Anthony, and it just works the same way. Like it's still the same flow. Like in a couple seconds, you'll see the bot reply to this message with a link, and the first step is just, you know, escrow the funds, and then the next step is for the person who's getting tipped to withdraw the funds, and those funds are okay. I'm obviously, you know, this is another good example. Glad this happened. I'm not a maintainer in this repo. I'm logged into a separate account, so that's why you see that error message.
Yep.
But
okay, so you tag and then you add the funds, and then they can claim it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I guess I can kind of like show you guys another capability of like Gibwork. We still have the time. Is that cool?
Oh yeah, as much time as you want, man.
Okay, so like one thing I kind of like wanted to do is like a couple minutes before this chat, I open sourced this GitHub bot, and like it's pretty early in terms of development. Like as you'll see that it's like somewhat of a prototype. But I think like what I want to kind of move Gibwork towards is like a place where anybody can kind of like, if you have an idea in terms of how we can enhance the platform, you don't have to, you know, work in a private repository. We're all kind of going to be open source eventually, and anybody can contribute to this repo. So like one of the steps that we're taking towards that is like we've open sourced this bot. So like I'm just gonna go to a different window here. Just give me a second, and I'm gonna paste it in the same window here. Yeah, so like our this bot is open source. So like if you just capture
Nice.
that link and you go to it, you'll see what it's doing on the background. And like 50% of the bot is open source. I think like the other 50 is like, escorting the funds and then withdrawing the funds. That's a private repo currently until we kind of like feel somewhat that, it's secured and ready to be shared to the public. But yeah, it's open source. And like what I intend to do during this chat is like, let's create a bounty against this, right? So like if we have somebody who's, viewing this, um, conversation and they want to contribute, I don't want your work for free. I want you to kind of earn 70. We'll put, we'll create the first bounty. It'll be $75. So like if and I've already created an issue, right? So one of the issues that we're having with this bot is essentially what happens is like in order for it to work, you have to like tag the bot, and it all has to be like in a single comment. Like you can't include any other text. And I think we can do a better job at, working around this. So what I've done is I've created a GitHub issue where I define the problem and pretty much kind of describe the outcome. So now we're going to jump onto Gibwork and we're going to create a bounty against this for $75. And then we just jump on here real quick. Oops. Yeah, we probably have the worst landing page of all Solana projects ever, and I'm kind of proud about that because it just means we're moving fast. But all right, so we're on the platform here. So essentially, to create a bounty, all you really have to do is like in this case, we're just gonna reward one pull request, and by that, all I mean is like we want this bounty hunter or this contributor to just work on this one GitHub issue. So we're just gonna paste it here. We're gonna get a response back, and then we're just gonna categorize the work, right? So like I would consider this somewhat of an enhancement. I'd say, we're just gonna allocate, estimate. Estimates is always a funny thing in the dev world, but we're gonna say you're gonna take 8 hours on this. This is kind of like stuff that's all behind the scenes, is not really displayed anywhere. Just kind of us trying to figure out if we can make use of these fields. But what we're gonna do here is like, all right, I got $75. So let's create this bounty for $75. We're gonna use Phantom. Right, so
Quick question. I see this is in USD. Is the bot also always in USD?
See? Yeah, so like for this first iteration, we're just gonna do like USDC, but we hope to like, I think there's a use case for Bonk and any other like, meme coin out there. But yeah, that's pretty much how quick it is to create a bounty. So like what would end up happening as a contributor, right? You come onto the platform and you want to work on this bounty, you would just click on start work. And like what ends up happening in the background is like, as the logged in user, your GitHub account now has a forked version of this repository. So you can contribute your change there. And then when you're ready to submit your change, you just come back onto the platform and then just hit submit change. And what essentially ends up happening is like we create a pull request in the background on behalf of your GitHub account. And if that pull request gets approved, you can now claim the 75 USDC.
Okay, yeah, that's really smooth. Cool.
Yeah.
What are the points for? How did those work?
Yeah, so I think the points, what we hope it achieves is like eventually we want to kind of like capture people who, one, help the platform grow. So like over time, if you accumulated a lot of points, whatever ends up happening in a year or so, and wherever the platform ends up being, we hope we reward back. So it'll kind of be like a help gauge people who've been loyal to the platform and people who've been actively contributing to open source. And essentially, a couple either months or years from now, we hope to like reward those contributors. But the way that you earn points is like 1, by solving bounties, and 2, by creating bounties. So those are the only 2 ways you can earn points.
Okay, super cool. Well, are there any other features you wanted to go over?
I think those are the only 2 that I have. Where I'd like to share those, like, okay, so like maybe you're not interested in like these bounties that we have currently. So like, you know, I want to point people out to like the fact that we have, you know, dedicated, I guess you can say channel within the 75, you know, 76 devs Discord, where people can periodically
True.
look in there, and you know, eventually you might see a bounty that's within your, you know, tech stack or whatever you're familiar with working in, and you can tackle it. But we also have
Yeah.
like a leaderboard. So like this is another cool feature. Oh, you can go ahead and show. Sorry.
Oh, that wasn't as smooth as I thought it'd be. Anyway, this isn't the best showing, but if I scroll down over here, we have this feed section, and this is Stack Overflow issues and also Gibwork. So as bounties are created, they show up in this feed. That's a nice place to know about new things to do.
Yeah.
All right, back to you.
Hopefully it gets a lot busier over time, but like we've, you know, been running for like 30 days and like getting people accustomed to like creating a bounty, because, you know, as an open source maintainer, we're so used to like, you know, newer devs just jumping in working for free. But I hope that ideology changes over time. But here we have like is the leaderboard. So like what ends up happening over time is like, you know, as you solve these bounties, you're on this leaderboard. And a lot of, you know, this leaderboard depicts people who are like, you know, well versed in like contributing to open source and such. And then we have claim rewards, which is I think is somewhat of a good feature. I might do away with it because it hasn't gotten the adoption that I wanted it to get. But like, you know, like let's say we don't have a bounty for the open source project that you might be contributing to. But you're contributing to something that's publicly available and it's open source. So ideally, what ends up like what this feature tends to address is like, okay, you're contributing to open source. How can you get rewarded for that? So like, what you would do is like you come on here, and then you would essentially like paste in the name of the repository, and then point it to the branch, and we create the pull request on behalf of your account. And that would like, in addition to like, you know, earning free USDC, and the USDC is kind of random and it depends on like the number of contributors on the project. So like if you're working on a big, you know, large open source project, you're bound to get more USDC and points than what you see on the screen. But yeah, like this would also is another way to like, you know, quickly get on the leaderboard. So like as you're, you know, you don't necessarily have to work on a bounty, but you can work on other open source projects and just claim points through the Gibwork platform and then land on this leaderboard here.
Yeah, that's super cool. This also solves like you're building another list of devs. That's cool. Getting those lists of verified devs, it's an important problem here.
Yeah, if you don't have a list of devs, I don't think you're gonna make it, honestly.
True. Got a
yeah,
PR for you, someone said in Discord, so might have a new bounty incoming. Someone said in Discord they got a PR for us. So
awesome. Love to hear it.
Yeah, this is super awesome. We can wrap it up, or you can go into more features, or if anyone has questions.
Yeah, I'd love to take any questions if anybody has, or even like criticism. Like that's the thing, like, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. So like if you like have an idea of where this should go, don't hesitate to like DM me or like, you know, put your feedback out there. I'm all ears. And I really want this platform to be like something where as an open source contributor, you feel like, you know, you're being heard and you're kind of being like your work is worth being paid for, in other words. But
yeah, that's a cool mission. Awesome. Well, I don't see any questions right now. It could be me not knowing how to use StreamYard yet, but I don't think so. So yeah, it might be a good spot to wrap it up.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, and I really appreciate the opportunity here.
Yeah, likewise. As you get more features, let me know, and we'll do more show and tells. But this was an awesome one. Cool. Thanks everyone for being here. We'll do this again next week.